All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Make sure you check out Pig in a Pickle. 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in Marin from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., and they're open Wednesday through Sunday in Emeryville inside the Emeryville Public Marketplace. Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. All right, let's talk about OTAs. We were down in Santa Clara for OTAs for the 49ers yesterday, and let's go through some of the winners and the losers from the workouts and from, just from the OTAs as we see it. The big winner, of course, or the big news, I should say, coming out of OTAs is that Brock Purdy's ahead of schedule and plans to work with his personal throwing coaches in Jacksonville after the workout or after the OTAs. And I would say overwhelmingly, that was the big story. He told us that he's on track to throw a football next week. He's on pace to be ready by week 1, which is September 10th against the Steelers at Heinz Field. Purdy said, "I feel good. The arm feels good." He's already lifting weights, his regular lifting, which is very impressive. And of course, the procedure was March 10th. So to me, the overwhelming winner with the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, who came out and said, "We're optimistic about week 1 for Brock Purdy's return." So the big winner was Brock Purdy, even though he didn't take the field. In fact, Purdy is using a towel instead of a football to basically go through all the same things that Lance and Darnold and Brandon Allen are going through, except he doesn't have the weight of that football when he's going through the throwing motions, and he's using a towel instead. And you see that in baseball, rehabilitating pitchers, and it's the same kind of thing in football. You want to make sure that you're getting that flexibility, that range of motion, that same muscle memory that you have when you throw normally, but you don't want the weight of a baseball, in this case, a football, in any way slowing you down or putting any extra pressure on that surgically improved elbow region. So it sounds like very positive stuff. Now, the other big winner I thought was Trey Lance. Trey Lance had a very smooth, much more compact looking delivery, much more efficient delivery. He took all of the first team reps. Darnold took all of the second team reps. Shanahan kind of pointed out afterwards that they're not really first and second team reps because the top receivers are not even out there right now. And he also indicated that he'll mix it up. Sometimes Darnold will take reps with the first team. Sometimes Lance will. But Lance took the first day of OTA throwing. He took all of the reps with the first team, Darnold with the second team. And Shanahan just said, "Hey, you know what? That's going to even out over time." But yeah, Trey Lance, I thought, was one of the great stories of OTAs. He battled last year with a finger that wasn't right. He had a broken index finger in 2021. And, Lance is saying he's feeling 100%. We had a chance to talk to him afterwards. He said he's starting to feel 100% recovered from the ankle surgery. He said he was feeling 100% as of March. So now we're here in almost June, and he looked good. So he doesn't have the broken index finger. He no longer has complications in any way from the ankle surgery, and he's out there on the field with a streamlined, compact delivery. I thought, last year he threw a lot of what we would call high-speed wobbles, where the ball just kind of wobbles in a weird way. That is maybe the most difficult ball to catch. Now, I saw 4 or 5 balls that had a little bit of a wobble to it. It wasn't a tight spiral, but the dramatic wobble seems to be gone. And that's a huge step in the right direction for Trey Lance. So the other thing that was great to hear is that Trey basically told us that he's been consulting with a sports psychologist, and that he's having fun again, and he's enjoying playing football again. And the pressure that this young kid has to be feeling at this point. And I call him a kid. He's a man, but you know what I'm saying? He's a young guy in the game. He's 23. The pressure that he's got to be feeling as the, anointed face of the franchise who had less college football playing experience than almost any quarterback in our lifetime. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then you had Brock come out of nowhere last year and play great. And then it's like, well, is Trey going to be the guy? Is Trey going to be the guy? And I'm sure Trey feels that pressure. And the pressure probably is somewhat self-imposed because he's got high standards. But the Niners have I'm sure put a lot of pressure on him. The fan base's expectations has put a lot of pressure on him. Just the entire situation is pressure packed. So I thought overwhelmingly Trey was one of the huge, huge positives of OTAs, just from the standpoint he's out there, the motion's streamlined, he's feeling good, his frame of mind is in the right spot, he's feeling positive, he's feeling refreshed, and it's on, baby. I mean, let's go. And it's time for him to step up and play some really good football and start to fulfill the expectations that so many people have for him. So, and just looking at the numbers and as far as camp stats, you guys know how much I hate camp stats, but from what I could tell, both Lance and Darnold, and there's different accounts of this, but I think they were both right around the same, right around 11 of 15. Both of them had a couple of drop passes. So they were really more like 11 of 13, which in a 7-on-7 OTAs is totally great. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not going to be perfect. It's practice. Brandon Allen, on the other hand, was perfect. He was 6 for 6 in the passes that he threw, looking very much like the seasoned veteran that he is. So I would say overall, the big winner from OTAs, the quarterbacks. Brock Purdy is healthy or is getting healthy and will be throwing a football maybe as soon as next week. Darnold, I thought, really looked good. I thought Darnold threw the ball well. I mean, people talk about he fumbled. Who cares? Like, that matters at all, that he fumbled one time in OTAs in late May. I mean, that people who are highlighting Sam Darnold's fumble are just hunting for negative on Sam Darnold. He fumbled. This isn't the Super Bowl. It's OTAs. Is it ideal? No. But it's not, it's hardly like a huge negative. It's a negative. He fumbled a snap. Oh my God. I thought Sam Darnold looked pretty good. I really did. The ball comes out on time. He made a couple of really nice throws. He was better earlier in the OTA. Like, if you watched him in the individual drills, good timing, good rhythm. Once we got into the later part of the team drills, he did make a couple throws that were slightly off target. I would say you could probably say the same thing about Trey too. He had a couple passes that were a little bit behind, a little bit in front. It's okay. It's okay. We breathe, 49er fans. It's going to be okay. And the fact that Darnold, fumbled a snap, that's okay too. I mean, obviously it's not what you want, but it's hardly one of these ridiculous, oh my God moments. There were a lot of people last night going, oh my God, Sam fumbled a snap. He looked good throwing the football. He really did. He had one down the sideline to Danny Gray that was a little bit behind him, and Darrell Luter Jr. made a terrific play on the ball. We'll get to Luter in a minute. But I thought overwhelmingly the big positive of OTAs were the quarterbacks. Sam looked good. Trey looked good. Brock's on pace to be throwing in a week. Allen looked good. The quarterbacks look good. They really did. And that's obviously a great sign. All right, let's move off of quarterbacks because believe me, there's a whole other football team out there. Spencer Burford looked great. He really did. He's bigger, stronger, more confident. He's probably going to take all the snaps at right guard. The Burford-Banks combo at guard, fellas, and ladies, is going to be, I think it's going to be the next decade. You're going to see Burford at right guard. You'll see Banks at left guard for the next decade. That's awesome. I mean, that is awesome. And Burford is such a great prospect. He's smart. He's got long arms. He's now built his body up even that much better. He's in better shape, stronger, faster, more explosive, smarter. He knows the offense better. He's just better. He's bigger, stronger, and better. So Spencer Burford, definite winner, huge winner. I'm going to jump around here because I've got, my notes are all over the place. But Kalia Davis, I thought really was a positive. I mean, he flashed explosiveness and the same kind of speed that we saw last year at the end of the year when he got on the practice field. I cannot wait to see Kalia Davis at 300 pounds moving. He is an interior pass rusher of note. So he looked incredible, absolutely incredible. Nick Zakelj looked terrific. He worked at both center and at guard, not at all at right tackle, but he looked incredible. Zakelj has obviously spent a lot of time on his playbook, on his body, at the facility, working out. I mean, we're talking about 6'6", 315, 320, 325 in that range. I don't know what exactly he's weighing, but quality depth on the offensive line. 2 years ago, the Niners had 5 offensive linemen and no quality depth at all. Now you've got really good quality depth, and the competition for the backup spots on the offensive line could be among the most intense competitions that we see this summer. I thought Zakelj looked terrific. Jalen Graham is a player. I loved him at Purdue as a junior, and then I thought he looked good as a senior. We saw Scott McLuhan kind of single him out as a guy that he really liked from the Niner draft. Then in the rookie minicamp, Graham looked terrific. And he continues to look terrific. He's smooth, very smooth. I joked with Keena Turner on the sideline. I'm like, Keena, Jalen Graham, Purdue, every 20 years or so, Purdue produces, I was joking, but every 20 years or so, Purdue produces a badass linebacker. First, there was this guy named Keena, and now there's Jalen Graham. But yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm checking him out. Graham looks good. Graham looks good. He really does. He's in shape. He's moving. He's athletic. He's instinctive. He looks good. He really does. I thought Graham was one of the real highlights for sure. Braden Willis is a nice player. Braden Willis made a really nice grab on a throw from Darnold in the middle of the field. Braden Willis is going to be heard from in this competition at tight end, folks. Braden Willis he's a tenacious, try-hard blocker, which is what you're looking for. He's going to get stronger. They all do. All prospects get stronger as they age a little bit. He'll get a little stronger. But what this kid has, you cannot teach. He's got ball skills. He's got effort. He's got second and third effort. He's a competitor. You say, well, give me a word to describe Braden Willis. He is a competitor. This guy reminds me so much of a kind of a different version of Jawan Jennings. I love Jennings on the football field because you can feel the competitive fire of Jawan Jennings, man. He plays for keeps, and so does Braden Willis. Braden Willis loves to play, and he was doing work after practice with Cameron Latou, the other rookie tight end, who didn't show as much to me, but, we'll see in time. But Willis's competitive fire and hands are going to help him make this football team. The other guy that really caught my eye that looked fantastic, and it's like he should look fantastic because he's an NFL receiver and he's got talent. He's a little bit of a late bloomer, but man, he is going to be heard from this summer, and that's Chris Conley. We talk about so many of these receivers. We don't talk about Conley. Conley's big. Conley's fast. He's super athletic. He caught 3 passes in the workout that I saw, and I thought, man, Chris Conley is going to compete for a job. He absolutely looked good. Marcelino McCrary Ball lined up at middle linebacker with Greenlaw and Warner sitting the practice out. And Marcelino is in the best shape of his life. And he's flying around the field. He's bouncing around. He looks terrific. I would say no player on the field looked as good as Christian McCaffrey. The thing about McCaffrey is a tone setter. That's what he is. He sets the tone. And you're talking about, a lot of veterans sat this one out. I mean, there were a number of guys. No Nick Bosa, no Trent Williams, no Debo, no Javon Hargrave, no Hufanga, no Ray, no Fred Warner, no Greenlaw, no Mooney Ward, no Jawan Jennings. You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? And that's fine because it's OTAs and they're voluntary at this point. I'd rather have those guys not out there. Why? Because there's plenty of time to get ready, and I don't want to see anybody get hurt. So those are the core. That's the core of the team right there. They didn't play. McCaffrey, though, set the tone. I mean, he set the tone. If everybody else was going at a speed of 8, this guy was going at a speed of 10. It was impressive. He was the tone-setting player on offense. He looked explosive. He looked hungry. He looked like, you know what? I'm taking the field and I'm setting the tone out here, baby. I'm going to play at a speed. I'm playing at regular season speed. McCaffrey looked awesome. I've never seen him look better. And I did Stanford pregame for almost the entire duration of his college career. This guy is going to take it to a different level this year. Now he knows the offense. Now he knows everything about it. He's going to be faster, better, more productive, Christian McCaffrey is a special player. That was a terrific trade. Another terrific move was picking up Isaiah Oliver. The 6'1", 205-pound nickel corner looked terrific. He had at least 2 or 3 PBUs where he's knocking down passes. We talk about a lot of different guys. Oliver kind of slid beneath the radar. That's an impressive player, man. He's going to play the slot corner as the starter, and he's coming off a great year playing the slot. I think he looked great. Darrell Luter Jr., I thought looked probably the best of all the rookies. He had a PBU versus Danny Gray on the deep ball on the far sideline from Sam Darnold, where the entire defensive sideline started woofing his name and running down the field to high-five him. Luter and Demo Lenore is going to be a battle royale. Lenore and Womack were the first-team cornerbacks. Luter and Ambry Thomas worked with the second team. But, man, Luter and Demo are going to battle for that starting spot, and I'll bet on Luter right now. I love Demo. I think he's a terrific young player, but Luter's dominant, and he's got dominant traits. He reminds me of a young Xavier Rhodes. Long arms, really suffocating, gets up on the line, doesn't let you escape, really strong with his hands, really long arms, fantastic player as far as he understands how to play man, mature player, doesn't panic. A lot of young players panic. He didn't panic. This guy, and you watch his film, he does not panic. So Luter stood out. As far as who didn't look good, Ambry Thomas didn't look very good. There was a couple plays I felt like he didn't make. Quantrez Knight, I love Quantrez, and we gave a little fist bump out on the field, but Quantrez didn't play. He had a cast on his hand and didn't practice, but I'm expecting Quantrez to fire this summer because he's a baller. Already mentioned Braden Willis had the one-hand grab from Darnold, very impressive. Ronnie Bell, okay, if Luter's the most impressive rookie, man, Ronnie Bell has to be discussed because I don't know how he makes the team, but this guy's ball skills are special. He catches everything he puts his hands on. If he gets his hands on the ball, he catches it. Not that big, not that fast, not that anything, but that guy can go get it. And I sat there in the 7th round going, what? Why are you taking Ronnie Bell? How's he even going to make the team? And now after a few practices, I don't know how he's not going to make the team. The guy he catches everything. Everything. I mean, Tay Martin, all those receivers on the back end, Jawan Jennings long-term. I mean, all these guys better be on their game because Ronnie Bell's coming for your job. This guy can catch, and he catches in a crowd, and he's got great, great concentration. That guy's going to be a chain mover. I mean, you need to make a play on 3rd down. And I'm thinking to myself, as accurate as Brock Purdy is, and then as good a hands as Ronnie Bell has, that could be an unstoppable duo on 3rd down. Jalen Moore, I thought, looked good, and Colton McKivitz looked good. They were the first team. Moore played left tackle for Trent Williams. He also played 3rd team right tackle. Colton McKivitz played 1st team right tackle. Matt Pryor played with the 2nd team at right tackle. I thought McKivitz looked pretty solid. I mean, you can't get a lot out of McKivitz. We'll wait till the bullets start flying for real, but he looks solid. I thought he looked solid. Javon Kinlaw is a lot leaner, but I would say that's a negative because to me, he doesn't seem he still plays kind of high. He's got leverage issues. I don't know that there's an ideal weight for him, but he was lean. He was really lean. Both Jake Moody and Zane Gonzalez went 3 for 4 and missed from 50. The star on defense was Drake Jackson. He's bulkier up top, but faster and more explosive mover overall. He was the big star. I Man, Drake is flying out there. Oh, my God. Drake Jackson. You guys got to see Drake Jackson. He's put on, I would say, 10, 12 pounds of muscle in his upper body, but he was flying off the edge. Easily the fastest in all those drills that the defensive linemen were doing. Drake looks poised for a huge breakout. So that's basically what stood out. I mean, there weren't, I wouldn't say there were a lot of negatives. I didn't see a lot of negatives. I guess I'm not highlighting as many negatives as I probably could. I'm looking for guys who stand out more positively than negatively. If I didn't mention somebody, maybe they would be considered a negative just because they didn't stand out to me. But I didn't see huge negatives. Kinlaw looks a little too light to play defensive tackle. He still doesn't have the quickness to rush the passer. I didn't see a lot of negatives. I mean, Darnold had the one fumble. Darnold and Lance were a little off on a couple of passes. Who cares? I mean, seriously, it's a gigantic who cares. TDP looked pretty good. Jordan Mason looked pretty good. The running backs were a strong group for sure. So, yeah, overall, I would say this was Robert Beal looks a little on the small side. Like, if he doesn't beat you with speed, I have a hard time seeing him beating offensive tackles with anything but speed. But there you go. That's my breakdown on OTAs. The good, the bad, the ugly. Mostly good, as you can tell. Just a little bad here and there, but nothing. Nobody was like, oh my God, what the heck happened there? There was nobody who was in terrible shape. There was nobody that just looked like fish out of water. But there were no injuries to speak of that I saw. Austin Bryant would be one negative to me as far as he looks a little thin in the legs for a guy who's going to play defensive end in a four-man front. And also Jair Brown did not stand out to me very much, and yet he was out there. The other guy that stood out positively, I liked what I saw from Avery Young, the Rutgers safety, who moves instinctively. He doesn't have a great 40 time, but he moves instinctively. All right, hope you enjoyed the 49er OTA winners and losers. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krueger Show, and thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krueger Show on YouTube.